Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Weekly Call. Our human world is very closely allied to the animal world. But do we know everything about the animal world? No. As a matter of fact, we hardly know even 0.01% about the animal world. We know common things, but some of the really interesting things are beyond the knowledge of the most of the people. By the way, are you aware of the biggest water fish, especially freshwater fish I'm talking about, not the slime one? No. More, at least I was not till I read it in the US Geological Survey. It took three biologists to haul this fish out of Detroit River in Michigan last month. And can you believe it was 7 foot long? That's 2.1 meter long. And the weight of this fish is 240 pounds, 109 kilograms. Now imagine a fish of this, and it's a freshwater fish. And according to these biologists, this fish can be more than 100 years old. It's mighty impressive. This fish is a lake sturgeon fish, and it's one of the largest ever caught till date. But then, according to these very biologists, there have been much larger fishes swimming in the rivers around the world. And according to them, the largest freshwater fish is not caught at present. This is beluga sturgeon. Now, this is both are sturgeons. This is lake sturgeon, and that's a beluga sturgeon. And beluga sturgeon is somewhere between Europe and Asia in the Black Sea or in the Caspian Sea, and the rivers feeding them. And beluga sturgeon, when they size more than 26 feet long. 26 feet. The codfish is 7 foot. And that means almost 4 times the size of this king size mattress. And the weight of that fish is 2.2 tons. Wow, imagination staggers. 2.2 tons of weight, 8 meter long, 26 feet. And that's the largest freshwater fish in the world. But it has not been caught, and then the life of that fish is also more than 100 years. So, since their lifespan is 100 years, almost the same as the human life is, or a bit more than that, because common human life expectancy is about 65 to 70 years, depending on the place where you live. Some people live up to 100, many have crossed the centuries, but the average century, and this is 100 years long. So give them plenty of time to grow, and then since they're in the fresh water, they get food, they get everything, and this is something really amazing. So this is one fact. And then, another matter came to my attention. Wildfires are a phenomena in USA and in Canada. And we fight it with helicopters, with aircraft, with water hoses, and whatnot. And a surprising hero has emerged to help the world's wildfire problem. And this is nothing more than the ever versatile goat. From the edges of the Western Australian to California to Eastern Hemisphere, there's increasing frequency and severity of wildfires. And These wildfires contribute a lot to the heat of the climate change. Now, goats are prolific eaters, and according to the scientists, they can be used as firefighters. How? These grazing goats can be effective, cost efficient fire prevention strategy. The idea is that the wildfires and the goats feed on the same thing, dry, grassy brush. So when you release the goats on that area, they have effectively removed the kindling that facilitates the spread of the fire. Now what they do is they cut that with machines, but it takes a longer time. So according to the scientists, if you release herds of goats over there, they'll simply remove the grassy brush in a few hours. And especially they're good at firefighting in the steep, rocky areas. In the plain areas, you can use your equipment, but in the rocky areas, it's very difficult, practically impossible to maneuver brush, brush eliminating equipment like weed eaters. So the grazing goats are a sustainable solution to controlling fires than the traditional methods. And now they are being used, as a matter of fact. They have been deployed all over the world, especially in USA and Europe. And they are being used in Portugal, they are being used in California. What they're doing is they're recruiting the shepherds who have the goats to bring them in, let them graze to prevent the fire from coming up. And it adds to the urgency of the current wildfire epidemics. Now, the use of animals, especially goats, grazing, but then there can be problem. The goats are indiscriminate. They can graze more. They are quite inquisitive. They're intelligent. They are social. They can adapt to geographical widespread livestock species. Everything is fine. And are you aware, by the way, that the goats were the first domesticated animal 12,000 years back? First animals to be domesticated by the human being. And that changed the lifestyle of the human beings because from hunters they became the farmers, the herders of the animals. So the first farmers moved into Europe 7,005 years back. They had moved into India about 15,000 years back, so 7,000 more, and they revolutionized the society. So goats have acquired even more important role because they herald droughts, A, and the increasingly intense forest fires. So the restoration is also easy because once the goats graze on that, that grass would grow when the danger is over. When you use the equipment that take the roots out, goats don't take the root of the grass out. So in California, Berkeley, Oakland, last time there was a fire, more than 40 people were killed, lot of human loss. So this is much better. Of course, there's a negative side that since they are indiscriminate, they can eat, and if you don't remove them in time, it can be absolutely dead area as far as growth is concerned. Because a single 100-pound goat can consume 12 pounds of green brush in a day. So if you have 170 strong herd, they can eat 2,000 pounds of brush one day. That means they can clear about 40 to 50 acres, 170 goats alone. In Hawaii, now what they have done is that they have started training the cows in specific way of grazing. So use of animals to fight jungle fire. They've been doing it. We were not aware, and this awareness is really, really quite interesting. And then, Tardigrades, another hardy creatures, adorable, chubby water bears. They are very small. They are bears in the water. They can say that even if the whole world is destroyed in a nuclear explosion, these small, chubby bears would survive. And now they say that they can be shot out of a high speed gun and nothing would happen to them. These hardy creatures, you put them in a gun, in a cannon, shoot them, they'll go about a kilometer off and they'll be still be living. Now the scientists are amazed that why not use the protective cover that these tardigrades have for the army, for the soldiers. And another thing they are called, they have been basically custodians of the Earth's lifeless areas. Since they live everywhere, so the life is there, and then the slow change, evolution makes the life proper. And another thing, they can stand radiation 6 times more than the deepest part of the ocean. And they can survive radiation even in the vacuum in space. Imagination staggers at this beauty of nature. And then a female giant tortoise called Fernanda was thought to be exist. This variety was giant tortoise was thought to have gone extinct. And now they have found it in Ferdinanda Islands. It's in Galapagos. And this was thought, as a matter of fact, was the first species to have gone extinct. Now, the beauty is that this had not gone extinct, it had gone dormant in a volcano. For 112 years, it survived the volcanic heat. Can a human being survive that? I don't think so. But this shows again, the scientists now are saying that the genes of this female tortoise, if they can be simulated, duplicated, and used by the human beings, that would be great. And then there's a weird mollusk. They call it the wandering meatloaf. And it has teeth made of not bones, calcium, but made of rare iron mineral. And this was found originally along the rocky coastline. And this rare iron mineral called santalbarite is found in the teeth of these animals. It just looks like one with a brown, reddish brown, and the teeth are 14 inches long, oval shape, shell body. They can take food from the rocks. The purpose is the animals need it. And the scientists say that amazingly, they have high water content, which makes it strong for the low density. And this might toughen the teeth, but having 14-inch long iron teeth in a small animal is something very rare and, as a matter of fact, intriguing and interesting. And then I'll talk of a marine worm. Human beings, animals, they have one butt. But this worm has 100 butts, and each bud has the capacity to grow eyes and brain. So 100 buds with 200 eyes and 100 brains. Can you believe it? And when I read it for the first time, I could not believe it. And the weirdness of this animal This worm, rather, doesn't stop at multiple buds. These worms are ready to reproduce their buds, as I said, and grow brains and then further ones. So one worm can continue breeding by itself. So you might be questioning that has somebody seen into the bodies of these many budded ocean weirdos? Yes, they have. They are just as peculiar inside as they are outside. It's a segmented worm, and there are about 1,000 species of this family. And branching boundaries are very common for plants and fungi. But for animals, this is possibly the only animal having this sort of a body. And last, the eternal question, what came first, egg or the chicken? No, eggs come from the chicken and the chicken come from the eggs. So that is an ancient riddle. But eggs, which are just female sex cells, evolved more than billion years ago, whereas chicken came around just about 10,000 years back. So egg and chicken dilemma has been solved by the scientists now, that it was the egg which came first and not the chicken. Taken at the face value, there's no doubt that the egg came before chicken. But the reality is that one comes a billion years back and the product of that egg, chicken, comes just 10,000 years back. So these are some very interesting facts of animal world which I shared with you. Let's see what we do next week. Thank you.